Hello everybody and welcome to another video. You have never seen this computer before. If you follow me on... oh, this is a ridiculous story. If you follow me on Twitter and you were at the live stream last week, then you know that I have this computer. This is a late 2010 13-inch MacBook Air. It is an absolutely exquisite computer. I absolutely adore it. Never been a massive fan of the MacBook Airs until now. They are just mind-blowing, trust me. And yeah, why do I have it? I sold the MacBook Pro and this came up for an unbelievable price. Again, if you follow me on Twitter, you know the story. So yeah, I picked it up. Awesome stuff. Incredible price for this incredible laptop. Worked perfectly. It has a webcam, and as the PowerPC Hub turned 3 years old on last Tuesday, if you haven't seen the montage video, then I recommend you go check it out. I decided to do a live stream, a massive Q&A, AMA, sort of ask me anything sort of live stream. Had everything set out nice and neatly, people were in the chat chatting away, had my beer, this coaster next to the MacBook, next to me, next to the Mac Pro, all good. I hit that go live button. It was sort of buffering. It was gonna start the live stream, and then I went to scratch my head, and then the beer just plonked all over the MacBook Air's palm rest. All across here was covered in beer. So I shat myself. The computer turned off instantaneously, so obviously I unplugged the power, straight away ripped it upside down, took the bottom panel off, and ripped the logic board, ripped everything out. The battery, the logic board, everything. Let it sit, let it air for 24 hours, then I put it back together and pressed the power button. Nothing. Didn't turn on. So I plugged the MagSafe in, pressed the power button again, and it did turn on. The relief was unbearable. And it did boot up. It booted up relatively slowly, but it did boot up. And it navigated relatively slowly, but it worked. And then I decided to test the keyboard, and some of the keys, well, most of the keys at the time didn't work. But over time, I've opened it up again, I've given everything another once over, the logic board, all other parts, so it's pretty much residue free now. And the keys started coming back to life. So now, in the situation it is now, this computer is working perfectly. I am so lucky that it is working perfectly, but it's working perfectly aside from the battery and the keyboard. The only keys that don't work are currently the B key, the backspace key, the F11 and the F12. Now I can put up with no F11 and F12, I probably wouldn't have replaced the keyboard if it was just those two, but the B obviously is pretty much a necessity, and of course the backspace as well. So I have to replace the keyboard and the battery on this, but aside from that, it's still working, and it's in relatively good condition. There's no corrosion on the board anywhere. I'll show you in a minute once we open it up. But yeah, that's basically the backstory. I was going to do a live stream. I literally just the second clicked go live, and the beer spilled all over the MacBook. So this is, if you didn't pick up by now, a liquid damaged MacBook Air. This is going to be a two-part video. I'm going to, because the battery isn't here yet, but I'm going to replace the keyboard in this video, and then next time we're going to be replacing the battery, and then hopefully we'll have a fully working MacBook Air. So before I start, I want to just go over the parts and the tools that I've got and what I need, basically. So stay tuned. So then, this is obviously the keyboard. Now this came insanely quick. I ordered it yesterday afternoon, and then this morning it turned up. I was so surprised. But yeah, I believe it's an original Apple part, although I'm not 100% sure. Move that out of the way. And here is the new keyboard. course, there's no backlight on this model. Doesn't matter massively. And if I really wanted to, I could have got the one with the backlit keyboard and then solder. But that's just ridiculous. I'll probably end up breaking something. But here is the new keyboard. This is what is going to be going in our MacBook Air. It feels identical. It's got the new keys. So for mission control and launchpad instead of expose and dashboard. Of course, we've got the function keys here, but of course, because it's the connector, the function keys, I believe will have to be remapped. But yeah, that's a brand spanking new keyboard. I'm not 100% sure if it's an Apple original. I presume so. Are we like third-party people make MacBook, because this isn't a very common upgrade, because these MacBook Airs are bastards to get into. But yeah, that's the keyboard. That's what we're going to put in the MacBook Pro, and these are all of the tools we're going to be using. Now this is just to sort of get dust out of the way. Hang on, get you a little bit closer here. This is just to get dust and shit out of the way. This is so we can get, because there's a lot of really tiny little connectors. So that is for pulling whatever out. This is the horrid pentalobe screwdriver. It's quite a nice screwdriver actually, but they're tamper-resistant screws, so it's really stupidly easy to strip these things. So I'm going to have to be extra careful. This is a Torx T5. Which I'm going to be using for the battery and pretty much every screw in this system. I don't believe there's a single Phillips screw in this computer, but everyone loves Torx. Almost impossible to strip a Torx screw. This is a spudger, again a necessity when you're working on these computers, because they are they're horrid to work on basically. Really handy for popping connectors and stuff up off the logic boards. And then just in case, I've got a flathead and a Phillips screwdriver in case I need it. So yeah, they're the tools. I've also got a screw tidy, so I know what I'm doing. But yeah, they're the parts. Now we're gonna go back to the MacBook Pro. Sorry, the MacBook Air. I keep on saying that. And let's open her up. Okay then, so the sun has decided to poke his head out. So yeah, we may get a little bit of exposure issues. I got manual exposure on, but anyway. Obviously the first thing to do is unplug the MagSafe, don't be a dingus. Yeah, and then obviously aluminium, anodized aluminium, you want to keep it nice and tidy without any scratches, so put something on the bottom of it to keep it protected. And yeah, it's relatively simple. You've just got the two long screws basically by the hinge here, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shorter screws, and then the bottom panel lifts off. So there we go. Really simple, really. Didn't strip any of the screws. Yeah, if we get a spudger, I'm so delicate with this because it's so small and sort of dainty. You think it's going to be delicate. But this should just lift off like so. There we go. Now, of course, I've been in it 2 times already, so it's not new to me now as my MacBook goes to sleep. Mac Pro goes to sleep. Yeah, if you put that down there, obviously this thing is a majority is just battery. The logic board itself is absolutely tiny, and of course this is unibody, so the keyboard is underneath it. So the next thing to do now. Well, it's debatable on what you do. Personally, I'd pop the fan out first and then the battery. Of course, obviously, before you start anything, rip the battery connector out. He says as he almost forgets himself. Be careful with this connector because it is quite deep into the board. But yeah, that just connects the I/O board on that side to the logic board. So put that somewhere safe. And yeah, so there's no power going to the logic board now. It's really up to you what you do. I'm going to rip the fan out first. There's a little rubber gasket here. The adhesive has already gone on this, so yeah, there's 1, 2, and then 3. I believe they're Torx T6 screws, or T5 possibly. I'm not even sure what this screwdriver is. Okay then, so there we go, that's out. And now the fan should just come out relatively easily. This is the one fan that cools the entire system. Now there's a little connector on the board and it's absolutely tiny. Number of people who have gone complaining because they've ripped the fan out without actually realising it's connected to anything. There's a little hinge here that you need to pop up. Obviously you can't see. I recommend going to iFixit. I'll leave it down in the description below, but I'm just sort of giving a visual representation over video. And yeah, lift that little hinge up and then pop it out. It is absolutely tiny, that connector, so be very, very careful. And then the fan again, put that somewhere safe. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is the I/O. There's one little screw here holding the I/O board in, and then there's a load of connectors obviously go into it. So just pop this one screw off here. I'm trying to keep all the screws tidy. You've got 1, 2, 3, and then the I/O board itself. That socket I would leave until it's actually coming out, and then just pop it out as it's coming. Now these other 3 are absolutely tiny, so be so careful. This is what I keep on saying. This is why a spudger is absolutely a necessity when working on these computers, because everything is just miniaturized. I believe that's the camera cable. This one in the top corner. So yeah, just be very, very careful what you're doing. And there we go. He's on his way out, and there we go. Good stuff. Now these 2 lift upwards out of the socket, so don't be scared. Reach underneath the wire and then pull them out that way. There we go. Really, really simple. Same with this one. Out it comes. And then the I/O board, with a little bit of persuasion, should just simply come out. He says. Give it a little wiggle. And there we go. Then of course the actual connector itself is connecting the I/O board to the logic board, and there we go. This is a 256 gig SSD. It's an absolute... I've never had an SSD this quick. The SSD I had in the MacBook Pro, this just blows it out of the water. It's not the fastest SSD in the world. 200 read, 200 write, pretty much. But it's just so much quicker than anything I've ever had before. So yeah, that's the SSD out. Don't put it up too much. It's relatively easy. It does pop out by itself, pretty much. So yeah, what we're going to do now is take out this humongous battery, which is dead. In the next part, of course, I'm going to be replacing the battery. You've got 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. So yeah, let's go for it. Okay then, so that's all the screws out of the battery, and then it's literally a case of just popping it out. It's not actually swelling. It's not sealed though, is it? So I presume it just all the gunk got into the battery, and it's just simply not working. It says it's charging. It doesn't say condition replace now or anything, but it just doesn't work. It just turns off, which it's got me a little bit worried. That it has something to do with the actual connector on the board, but the actual I've flipped it over, and all of the sort of resistors and stuff like that, there's no corrosion on any of it, so it should be okay. Now then, this is the keyboard. This is your first sight of the keyboard. There is the connector. I hate the connector they have used for the keyboard on this machine. It's like an upside down 90-100 degree angle bastard of a thing. We don't need to take it out yet though, but what we are going to take out is this, which is the trackpad's sort of trackpad keyboard logic board sort of connector by there. So I believe this is a hinged little thing as well, so just pop it up, yep, and then it should just pull out like so, and now there's no keyboard and trackpad going to the logic board. Now then, I believe that's the display cable there, same thing. So there's a little sort of tape. It's not hinged as such, it's just a little metal bracket that just pops up with it. I'm not sure whether you can see that. But yeah, and then give it a little bit of persuasion on the way out, because it's a pretty big cable. But there we go, there's no display connected to the MacBook Pro, so you can tell you are taking this thing apart completely. There is... Oh, Mac Pro's just come alive again, if I just turn it off. There we go. Here is the... I'm not sure how well you can see any of this. You've got an airport Bluetooth card there. If I turn... This isn't very professional, I'm sorry guys, but just trying to get my point across. There's a Bluetooth and airport card here. No, I hate these little connectors. It was the same when I was installing an airport card in my Mac Pro. They're horrible little antenna things, and they're so easy to bend, so be extremely careful when you're pulling these things out. There we go, that's one. And there's two. Now then, you've got itself on the actual logic board itself, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. But you have to obviously because they've been absolute twats again, and they put a screw underneath the little clutch for the hinge by here. So you have to take the screws off there, pull the clutch up just to get to the screw underneath it. It's just unnecessary stuff like that that pisses me off. And these are T8, so if you don't have a T8 screw, you're going to need that too. I just remembered. The hinge screws are T8, not T5 or T6 or whatever's been used throughout. So yeah, you don't need to take all three out, just the first two. So I always forgot to mention, I was just about to rip the logic board out, we have to get to the keyboard, don't we, not the logic board. You can take the logic board out without taking the speakers out, but obviously the speakers are above the keyboard, so we have to take them out as well. Now there's two little screws holding these speakers in, one there and then one there, and then they're held down by adhesive, so pretty solid adhesive as well, so yeah. We're going to see how successful we are doing that. All the screws are at the logic board now, so it will just literally be a case of pulling them out. Don't want to bend the speakers, otherwise you're just going to get bad sound for the rest of their existence. So just try and peel the adhesive up as gently as possible. I know that's really hard to do, because you've got to apply some sort of force. There we go, that's coming, and there we go. Off comes... Oh, that's nice and manky under there, Jesus. That's the... I'm trying to think left or right channel, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, same rule applies. On this side, there's a little connector here. Pop that up and out of the socket. And yeah, just peel away. Luckily these machines aren't too old, so the adhesive hasn't gone bad yet. A lot of these older computers, you see the adhesive goes bad and then it just all sort of crumbles and falls to pieces. But there we go. Now that is just the bare logic boards. This should just pop out like so. There we go. There is a MacBook Air, guys. That is what you're paying. Right, no, that's the technology. That's £1,000 worth of computer out of the factory, brand new. This has the 2.13 GHz Intel Core 2 Duo, airport Bluetooth, of course, 802.11n, two USB 2.0s, mini DisplayPort, MagSafe, and headphone jack. It has the GeForce 320M with 256 megs of VRAM, which is a really nice little chip. And better than some of the integrated graphics that came in them afterwards, like the 3000, 4000 Intel graphics. But yeah, that is a MacBook Air. It is just unbelievable. It's insane. So yeah, keep that very, very safe, of course, because you ain't going anywhere without a logic board. Now then, this is the keyboard connector itself. Now I'm not 100% sure how these actually come off. There's no guides. Step-by-step guides. Not that you really need one. As long as you can get it open, you can sort of know what you're doing from there onwards. But yeah, is it? I think it's a hinged connector. I believe so. Yeah, it's a hinge connector, 90-degree hinge connector, so just pop that up before yanking it out. But then it should come out relatively, yeah, there we go. So it's a little hinge connector, pop the little hinge up 90 degrees, and then it just pops out relatively easily. Now then, there is a metric shit ton of screws we have to get out of here. And of course, rivets hold the keyboard in. Great job, Apple. They decided, screws are too bloody 1990s, we're going to use rivets instead. So, some people say you can push the rivets back in. Some people say you can screw screws in. I'm going to try both methods. I've got about 20 screws that are made to fit these little gaps here. And I'm going to see if I can push the rivets in to get the best of both worlds. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure how we're going to do this, but there is about 50 screws lining the outside of this keyboard. Be careful when you're ripping this as well. It's always a tense little job, but there we go. This one doesn't have a backlight, of course, I said that earlier, so you don't have to worry about that aspect at least. And yeah, there's just screws all the way around the outside, and then there's rivets on the inside. So I'm going to do this off camera, and I'm going to get back to you when there's some progress. Okay, so that was an absolute nightmare, especially with this, which is by far the world's worst screwdriver. Now, rivets, obviously, no way of getting them out, unless you rip them out. Now, this is the way to do it. You just rip it out. That's the only way you can get these keyboards out properly. Rip, rip, rip. And these rivets are going everywhere. This just doesn't feel right. Paid really good money for this thing, and I'm literally ripping it to shreds. Okay then, give me a second guys, this is going to take a while. These rivets are stuck in there pretty good. And this, guys, is the aftermath. It's like having a bloody wrestling match. There are just rivets everywhere now. I'm going to try and salvage as many as I possibly can. But man, it's insanely strong, the metal. You could have left all the screws in there really, and it still would have come out with a little bit of persuasion. Okay then, so I got all the shit off the screen, and I've got as many rivets as I could find dotted around the room. I found one on the other side of the room, they absolutely just fly everywhere. But yeah, we got the screws as well on the outside, so really, in reality, the rivets are there for just the middle support, so I'm going to start in the middle and then sort of go outwards. This is the keyboard, again, new keyboard. It doesn't feel... It feels a lot... I don't know, it feels really different. It feels nicer than the Apple keyboard, whether it's a third party or just a newer version of that keyboard, I'm not 100% sure, but it feels a lot nicer, which is a bonus, I guess. But yeah, notice as well here, that's where you got the up, down, left, right. There's sort of cutouts, like half cutouts for what would be, I presume, page up and page down buttons. But they don't drill it in all the way. I don't quite know why they do that. Bit weird. But anyway, this should just literally pop in. It's a keyboard at the end of the day. And yep, that was just nice doing that. Knowing that I should, fingers crossed, have a keyboard again, basically. Okay then guys, so I actually did record sort of a time-lapse sort of thing where I was screwing everything in. But I did YouTube error one of not hitting the record button. So basically, the rivets are useless, absolutely useless. They don't do anything, and then obviously when you press the keys in, they just bow in the middle because there's nothing to support in it. Because you can't get the rivets to snap in again, there's no point. So I've just sort of spread the screws out as equally as possible. across the outside and then the inside of the keyboard, because the keyboards that go around the outside, they do go on the inside as well, and it provides a much better support for the keyboard itself. And as you can see, I need to put a couple of screws in here and there, especially up in this corner, but aside from that, it's pretty damn solid. So yeah, I'm going to finish doing this, and then I'm going to get back to you when we start reassembling this MacBook Air. Okay then, sorry, I'm getting absolutely starving now. I've gone far too long without food, but I just want to get this done now. So yeah, let's just rip this little connector out from the tape. All the screws are in as equally as possible. There's no sort of weak points. It types solidly, which is better. And funnily enough, this cable is actually better than the one Apple provides, because it's not stupid overlapped 180 degrees stupid stuff. So if we just fold it over, it should just slide in like magic. There we go. Awesome stuff. Right then, so that's the battery in. I'm now going to put the back plate on, I'm going to plug it in, and I'm going to turn it on. Fingers crossed, guys. Moment of truth. Okay then, so everything is back together. This is the moment of truth. I'm going to plug the MagSafe in. Obviously the battery still doesn't work. Got a green light. We have power, which means the keyboard power button is working. We have a display. We have a progress bar. The screen needs a hell of a clean. I have noticed Yosemite boots up a lot slower than Mavericks. Mavericks took about 25 seconds, Yosemite about 30. It is still an insanely quick time. Trackpad is working. Awesome stuff. If I open up text edit, make it super big so you can see, I'm using Command and plus. It's working. Get in there. Brightness keys, working. Obviously the actual symbols on there are different to what this is mapped to, so I'm going to have to, I'll probably rip the keys off of the other one and just swap them around. Awesome, mission control, that would be dashboard. I don't have dashboard open. I want to test every key, obviously, in case it's a bad one. KL, okay. Seems like everything's good. B is working. I have B back, yes. Backspace, enter, shift. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Successful upgrade, guys. I'm one step closer to have a fully working MacBook Air again. Awesome. I'm over the moon, because that was probably one of the hardest repairs I've ever done. And yeah, awesome stuff. Chuffed to bits. So I hope you enjoyed this really long-winded video. Thank you to the 2 people that have watched it to the end. Stay tuned for the next video where we will be replacing the battery, so that's a little bit simpler. And there we go, we got keynote pages and numbers. That's the Yosemite update. Yeah, that's cool. Awesome stuff. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.